Hey Kaz, mate, this is module number 3, and I'm just trialing out this software as well. So bear with us for a second. I just want to make sure that this is working. Awesome. And let's try this. If that works. Current slide. I'm just checking my other screen. Hope your day's well, brother. Nearly there. Awesome. We're away, mate. Hey, welcome to number 3, bro. I know you've made some awesome progress in module number 2, but I want you to consider that we're only just getting started. So that weight you talked about coming off your shoulders, that's definitely interference being removed so that you can really fulfill your potential. So awesome stuff, brother. Take action. So recapping, we've just touched on where you want to get to and what your result wants to be, and really important, that's in the front or in your windscreen as you're driving forward now. We've got a little rear view mirror that we're going to just attend to in this module and remove more interference. But where you're heading to, the more you remove that interference away, the more clarity we need to get around which way we're going. So keep working on what your destination is and that reason why. All right, again, part of emotional interference comes from broken agreements and promises, which you talked about. And the key is that it's no one's fault. There's no good or bad. It's not their fault or your fault. It just happened, right? And someone's got to take responsibility for it, and we can't wait around for others. If we want to remove our interference, we've got to take responsibility of that and attend to broken agreements. Also, we need to attend to is this next this topic, which also causes interference. But as usual, this is step by step, brother. Follow the steps. You have started to do stuff different that you've never done before. So you started to do things you've never done before, and that's that change aspect. And we're going to keep going down that path, and definitely going to fight daily. Like, pretty awesome the day you had yesterday at hospital to then get back on, the phone. That's fighting daily, bro. I'm pretty impressed by that. So fight daily for this, because this is a 30 to 45 day window where we can really get momentum. All right, so let's get into it. I'm just checking my little screen down here too. Self-betrayal is the most, I believe, because it was, this is my experience, the most massive source of emotional interference on our potential right now. And it is what it says there. It's to not do what you feel you should have done for someone. Okay, and I came across this concept. 2015, was sitting in a Super Rugby coaches workshop at New Zealand Rugby, and I was sitting there in the room full of, all these well-known coaches, and this guy from a place called the Arbinger Institute started talking about this concept of self-deception, self-betrayal. And he talked about being in the box and being out of the box. And he talked about this book that the Arbinger Institute wrote. And I was pretty fascinated because I could see where I was betraying myself. And like I said, this is probably the massive cause of interference on our own potential right now. So let's talk about it in a story, So obviously my role at New Zealand Rugby meant that I travelled a lot around the lower North Island. We're fortunate though that, financially, if we wanted to, my darling could be at home. And for the first part, when we had our firstborn, our daughter, she decided to stay home. She just finished her study for teaching actually, but decided to stay home. And my job obviously travelled a lot, but I also was able to work from home, which has its pros and cons, right? Because you've got to really knuckle down, otherwise you get distracted with the laundry. And so the story goes like this. Because I'd travel a lot, I'd get up or come home late. Or if I was working at home or I was back home for the next few days, I'd really have to get up and start nailing work. Otherwise, the day would get away on me and I wouldn't have done any work. Okay, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to take advantage of being at home. So when our firstborn came along, and I'm sure we've those of us who are kids have experienced this, is we're lying in bed in the middle of the night after a long day, and we've got work on the next morning, but my darling's at home at this time. Tyler, our daughter, wakes up. She's quite young, and as they do, they wake up in the middle of the night. You can hear the crying. We've just put her, well, she'd been in a cot. We just moved her into a bed, and my initial thought, and I felt my reaction, I was about to move out of bed, was be an awesome dad, be an awesome husband, get up there and tend to Tyler. And then within a split second, this happens so fast, and this is where self-betrayal kicks in. I didn't honour that feeling. And it was just a split second, I went to get up and then I just rolled over. And it was, the follow-up thought was, no, hang on, I work all day. I've got work in the morning, I've got a massive workload, I'm always under the pump, I've got projects on the go, I'm hard working. And, it's only fair because my darling's at home, she gets up, she's, it's to spend the day at home. And, she needs to get up. It's her job, I do the work, I'm the provider, I get out there. And so this thought process starts happening. And then I start to see her in a different light. So let's just look at this scenario carefully, because this happens multiple times, if not more, in a day when we're dealing with others. Okay. So first of all, I had the thought, I should go and tend to Tyler, their grandfather, etc. Now I've got two options at that point. I can either honour it or I don't. And self-betrayal happens when you don't. And what starts to happen first, so I go back a step. As soon as we don't honour that initial feeling, the view of our world changes completely. I want you to just think about that for a minute. I'm lying there, I have this initial thought, I should go and help. Then, as quick as that first thought came, I start lying and say, no, I can't, no, I shouldn't. At that moment, the view of our world changes completely. And I start to see myself as hardworking. Fear, because she gets to stay at home. And I'm a victim, I've got massive workload tomorrow. I can't do that. I can't get up. I need my sleep to operate so that we can still keep my darling at home. We can still be in the situation we're in. So totally blow up my traits. I'm the hardest worker you've ever known in this scenario. I'm the fairest, I go out to work every day and come back. That's fair for her to be able to stay home and do what she wants and goes out for coffees. That's fair. So I totally blow up my side of the story. And this is what I start to do to my darling. I mean, look at it. I'm just trying to check the screen there that it's working. Look at it. I start to see her as lazy. I start to see her as selfish because she hasn't thought about me and got up yet. She hasn't thought about my heavy workload in the early morning that I'm going to work. I start to think of her as unappreciative. And I'm like, look at those words. Those words could be far, far, far from the truth. Or are far from the truth. Like, can you see as soon as we start to dishonor that first feeling, the view of our world is not the truth. And the next thing is so fascinating. It's just amazing what the human senses and body starts to do. So I've blown up my traits. I've totally squashed down on her like she's low to the earth on this white line over here. And as soon as we self-betrayal, or we betray ourselves and we see this justification, we start collecting evidence everywhere to support this story of hard-working, fear, being a victim, and being lazy, selfish, and unappreciative over here in the dark. Like, we literally start seeing those things. It's just crazy how we operate as a human being in that way. So, what tends to happen then, because those situations are happening, multiple times throughout the day, and not just with my darling, but with others, work colleagues, because it's so repetitive, and because we then collect evidence. So evidence would be like, I got up, went for a shower that morning, and her clothes are still on the floor from the night before. Oh, it's amazing. Now I have to pick those clothes up. Walk into the kitchen for breakfast, and I see the dishes on the bench from yesterday. Oh, so selfish. Like, now I have to do it. I have to take another 10 minutes out of my day to clean those dishes. And it's just, I want you to get that this concept just causes massive interference. And so when it's repeated over time, it becomes your own movie. And like we did in module 1, you have to see your own movie. So let me just reiterate this again, that it distorts your reality. It really does. And it's like you've got, as soon as you self-betray, you put on your own virtual goggles. And that's what you're seeing. You think you're seeing the world, but you're not seeing reality. What's outside those goggles, right? And you just pick up proof everywhere you look. Everywhere. So I want you to think about, just take time right now to think about some occasions that you might have this concept of self-betrayal pop up. Is it with your loved one? Is it with work colleagues? Is it with your local dairy owner? Is it with your kids? Okay. I know that when our second child came along, I utterly loved him. And then part of me betrayed that because I didn't want to give extra time, and then I had to give up other things in life. I had to give up coaching. I had to give up more exercise. I had to give up things. And so when I betrayed the initial feeling of wanting to get to know Tony in the early days and really get around them, and I didn't, man, I just saw him as this pain in the bum. And I didn't see him for what he really was. And so this concept is powerful because when it's repeated, it creates your own meaning. And I want you now to be aware of when you get in a situation of self-betrayal. You might catch yourself just before you do it or just after you do it. And I want you to start thinking about how you see the other person. What traits do you start to see or devalue in the other person? And what traits for you do you start to just blow up? And this, when I really saw the impact of this on my darling and my whānau, it was like a train smash. Yeah. So 2 years ago, I was exposed to the concept, but more recently, I had that concept really understood, broken down, and I could visually see where I was betraying myself. So, when you do that, how are you going to behave? Like, even though you don't talk, the feelings or the thoughts that are in your head, still how you behave. Like, if I saw my darling as lazy, selfish, and unappreciative, there's that vibe, like, there's space, right? And that's massive interference. And so, when you gather that evidence daily, that's so septic. It's septic to the core. So that's when they talk about when we're in that spot, we are in the box. When we betray ourselves, we are in the box. And I see in the box as having those virtual reality goggles on. I'm in there. And all I can see is what's on my screen. And what they talk about is getting out of the box so you can actually see reality and truth. And this hit home for me, right? I mentioned this before, but my movie is based around a white knight. I've watched way too many Rambo movies. But I was a white knight that came in. I was young, fit, Māori guy, Māori dude. Sweep my darling off your feet. There's a scene. I was this white knight coming to save her from her situation, and I was on a path of success, initially chasing rugby. And ever since I left school, I wanted the situation, I always wanted a situation of time and money, right? That's what I wanted to achieve so we can really do stuff. And so that's what I promised my darling. I said, like, come with me. I'm your winner. I'll get you time and money. But all she wanted was a house. And initially, when she sat me down, she said, "What, you should get a house?" Hey, look, no, I'm the successful person. I'm the one who's been on the success path of rugby. Listen to me. I've read the books. I've been to the seminars. I'm the one with the knowledge. So I betrayed myself. My initial thought was, I could listen to him, but no. And so then I blew up all my traits, devalued all. Okay, I said, no, come with me. We're going to get this oasis of time and money, And the first port of call was network marketing. And put all our time and effort into that. So before we were in 2004, we were in Auckland, she said we should buy a house. We were in Auckland, she said we should buy a house. Just wanted to note that. I said, nah, I know best. I've read all the books. We need time and money. House is not going to get us that. Let's do this. Network marketing, chucked in all our time and effort into that. Her unwillingly, I'm dragging her along. I didn't even read that cue. And it didn't work out. And so the white knight wasn't my fault. Some other factors that we had to put up on. What next? Well, we need to go and get time and money. Let's charge on. So we decided to pitch up with some mates and chuck some money into a real estate venture. That went horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. We still owe money on that venture today, 8 years later, and those properties are gone off. Go figure. It was a situation where we let them do it all. They didn't. Anyway, I'm this white knight saying, come to network marketing. That didn't work out. Come to New Zealand real estate investment. That didn't work out. What's the next thing? Let's go overseas. And so, at this time, I'm still blowing up my attributes. I'm the successful one. Like, look at the track record. I'm the successful one. I'm the one who reads the books. I'm a hard worker. And throughout this whole process, I'm collecting the evidence about that for me. Yeah, I work late, then I do the extras, then I do the dishes, and I'm devaluing hers. She doesn't read, she doesn't know. All she worries about is, just her part of the partnership. She just goes to work. And it's like this. I was so in my building off. Anyway, let's go to Scotland. Let's go to the UK where we can earn twice as much money, bring the currency back. We might make a bit, but secretly hoping we might meet this business millionaire who will mentor us into a business and where we can get time and money. And so, look, I've got my bundles on going, that's where we need to go. And reality is totally different. So we go to Scotland, we come back with a little bit. Still no time or money. Get the opportunity to go to a national governing body, right? But that's where time or money is. And, my darling's more willing this time. We move back to New Zealand and we do this role for 5 years. And great package, and the ability to work from home. So almost at the oasis of time and money, almost. And so I justify myself at that point. See, look, we went through all of these things, network marketing, real estate, overseas, to get to this point. Like, how about that for a storyline? Like, that's, you've got to work through the hard times to get to the good. And so we do this job for 5 years and great package, but still no time or money. And the whole time my darlings just say, we need to buy a house. We need to buy a house. Like back here, we needed to buy our own house. After that, we need to get something for ourselves. No, we're going to here. We're going as a group, less risk, rah. Didn't work out. Just before overseas, we need to buy a house. No, let's carry on. Get back here. Finally listen, buy a little house. Like begrudgingly. And it's the best buy, like it's gone up 30%, something crazy. Like, why did you not listen to her earlier? And it was because I betrayed way back here. Way back there, I betrayed it. I put my story was that I'm the white knight, like I was faultless. Crazy as that. And she was here. I mean, look at the time, like that's like 14 years. 14 years of stuck in my own movie. And it was like a train crash when I realised what I'd done. It was all because of self-betrayal. And then, even though we got a house, I was still searching for this oasis of time and money, and I got to the top of the mountain. So I got to New Zealand Rugby, a national governing body. And I've gone through all these other journeys, network marketing, real estate investment, overseas, national governing body, top of the mountain, and time or money wasn't there either. Ultimate time or money. I said, I could hang around for 20 years and try again senior management. They got money, but they ain't got no time. Those fellas work hard. So I came up with this idea of, well, maybe it's not about the money. Maybe it's just about the time. Yeah, man, like that's it. That's just about time with farmers. So let's go home. This is a Portuguese, this last picture. Let's go home, move next to mum and dad so kids can spend time with them. That's what happiness and fulfillment's about. And so I'd gone up the mountain. Not time and money's not there. Let's go down to the other end. Time and money's not. Well, so 3 months in, I realised time and money's not there either. I'm in a situation where I leave home at 8 a.m, not back till 6 p.m. From a situation at New Zealand Rugby where I used to work from home. They had a great package. Half the salary coming home. Twice the work. I sat down after 3 months, and this is when I had my train smash. And that's really when it hit home that I'd been living in this movie. And I did the landmark program, which helped me identify the areas that I was really self-betraying in. I found this book again. I was like, that's the emotional interference that's been preventing me from way back here. Look at that time that could have been saved. Look at the money. I think we've spent $80,000 at least on that real estate investment. And that's what it's gone on the whole. Look at what self-betrayal does when you blow up your own traits, devalue someone else's, all because we didn't honour that first feeling. Oh, I should listen to my dog. Crazy. So, as I said, along the whole way, I'm collecting proof to back up my story and my behavior. So, what does this mean? All right. It means you've now got two choices when you find yourself in that situation. Right? You honour it, or you don't honour it, and you end up living in your own world, and you end up gathering evidence to support your movie. And to help us prevent that from happening, first of all, you got to identify when you're what they call in the box, what the Arbing Institute call when you're in the box. That's step one. You can step out. And I just want you to consider, though, one thought is, well, what if you don't have that feeling? Like my brother, me and my brother, he was supposed to sign some documents, and I rang him up and said, hey, how you going with those documents? He said, I haven't had any time. And I didn't have a feeling of, oh yeah, okay, probably isn't a good time. I just went straight, no, you've always got time. You need to make time, you know? So I'm devaluing his traits, or his personality, who he is, and I was like, I see it. He's always selfish. He always leaves himself to last. He always looks after himself first and leaves others last. I'm always the one who sacrifices himself first for others. Like, I'm totally blowing up and totally devaluing his traits. But I didn't have the initial feeling of, oh yeah, no, maybe didn't have that. And so the book of Leadership and Self-Perception talks about if you have those feelings towards others, and basically you look at them as just objects. If I just saw Chad as an object who never fulfilled on things he should have, I just saw him as selfish. As soon as you see someone as an object, you're already in the box. And that's because that box is part of you from way back. And like that was when we were kids, we were always confronted. So I want you to consider that as soon as you start seeing others as objects and you start blowing up your traits and devaluing theirs, you're already in the box, so you need to get out. And in terms of past betrayals towards people, we need to fix it. We need to clean it up, because those interferences are causing massive interference like that. So those opportunity or those situations of self-betrayal are causing massive interference like that. Massive. We think, and I think, that no, I park that to the side. And so, you know, I needed to talk to my brother about situations that had occurred that led me to do things, you know, that possibly shouldn't have done. So, identify yourself. People you have betrayed against. And, you know, this is different to broken promises. Because they actually don't know that you've had this internal feeling to possibly help them and then you didn't, right? Or you've got this internal dialogue saying you're so great and they're so small. They won't have a clue, okay? They just thought you were always angry. So when you approach them, it may be a surprise. That's just what I want to say. And again, you need to leave them. This is the key. Otherwise, we're just devaluing them. Like, we need to raise their value when we have our conversations, and leaving them feeling moved, touched, or inspired. And so, an example for me was I had to ring an old boss who I used to indulge in talking behind his back about the way he managed us. And I remember the initial feeling was, JT, you shouldn't be talking about someone else when you're not in the room. Like, it's always my initial thought, always. I think it was brought up from somewhere when I was younger, but I don't like people doing that to me. So, but with a group, when there's a consensus, you join in. Right? You give the little dab, we give the little stab in the back. So I had to clean that up, and the release, just the release. You may have experienced some of that. I mean, I know Kaz, you've experienced that with the previous module, and others you may have experienced that if you did those tasks. So that is the feeling of interference just being reduced and removed. So that's your task for this week. There's no templates. You just take a note down mentally or written who you've self-betrayed towards. And just keep in mind that it may be a surprise of what you're sharing with them in terms of, hey, look, this is how I felt. this is then how I acted, and I now realise that that wasn't the best way for our relationship to connect. And I know that your traits, this high, and I want to help support you in those traits, leave them inspired. So, get on to this week's tasks and keep you moving into the future. JT.